The periodic table. Here we have a periodic table. If you have one in your book, that's great. If you don't have one, I will put the link to this in the description here, and then you can print it for yourself. Alright, let's start with a recap from what you learned in grade 7. So the introduction. For many years, scientists have tried to classify simple chemicals into some sort of order. These simple substances are called elements. But what is an element? An element is a pure substance that cannot be divided into simpler substances by chemical means. This you know already. This classification helps us to understand better how these elements react. The Russian scientist Dmitry Mendeleev was the most successful at organizing the elements. In the 1860s, he developed the periodic table. He organized the elements according to the atomic masses. He realized that the elements with similar characteristics appeared at a regular interval. In other words, periodically. That is why he called it the periodic table. On the periodic table, we have horizontal rows that are called periods, and the elements arranged according to the masses, and vertical rows or columns are called groups, and elements with similar properties appear in the same group. Every element on the periodic table has its own name, a symbol, atomic number, and position. The periodic table can be divided into three main groups: metals, semi-metals, and non-metals. Semi-metals are also called metalloids. The metals on the left-hand side of the dividing line, and non-metals are on the right-hand side of and above the dividing line. So these are all metals. These are all semi-metals, and these are all non-metals, including Mr. Oxygen over there. So, like we said, we have the atomic number at the top, the symbol of the metal, and then the approximate relative atomic mass there at the bottom. Now here we have complete the periodic table. Now this is the exercise that you can do. This can also be some questions in the test that you're going to write. Teachers love these. Complete the periodic table. Complete the arrows. Fill in the group numbers and labels next to the arrows. Complete the arrows. So this arrow and this arrow. So this arrow is called the groups, and this arrow is called the periods. That's the answer. Number 2, fill in the group numbers and labels next to the arrows. So group numbers. Group 1 is the alkaline metals. Group 2 is the alkaline earth metals. Group 7 here, or 17 actually, is called the halogens. And group 8 is called the noble gases. Number 3, draw the diagonal line between the metals and the non-metals. So here's the metals. There we go. That's where we draw the line. Number 4, use a light blue pencil to color the metals. Here are, well, the teacher used orange, but coloring in light blue metals. 5, use a light green pencil to color the non-metals. Now the non-metals are over here, hydrogen, and the rest over here. And then use a red or pink pencil to color the semi-metals. These are really in pink. Color the semi-metals. Use your periodic table to complete the following table. Alright, atomic number 1 has the symbol with H. What is it called? Yes, it's hydrogen, and it's a non-metal. Number 2, He. What is that? Right, that is number 2, and it's helium, and it's also a non-metal. Number 3, Li, and that stands for lithium, and it's a metal. Be is beryllium, and this is also called a metal. Number 5, B, is boron, and it's a semi-metal. Number 6, C, is carbon, and it's a non-metal. Atomic number 7, N, it's nitrogen, and it's also a non-metal. Atomic number 8, O, oxygen, and that's also a non-metal. F, fluorine, and it's also a non-metal. Number 10, Ne, it's neon, and that's also a non-metal. Na, natrium, sodium. Na stands for sodium, don't get confused. And that's also a metal, actually, this time. Mg stands for magnesium, and that is also a metal. Al is aluminium, and that's also a half metal. That's a half metal. Si, that is silicon, and that's a half metal. Aluminium, now that was wrong then. Aluminium is a metal. So this table is colored in wrong. That is a metal. Number 15, P, is phosphorus, and that is a non-metal. Number 16, S, sulfur, and it's also a non-metal. Cl, chlorine, and it is a non-metal. Oh no, went too far. Ar is argon, and it's a non-metal. K, potassium, and it is a non-metal. Ca, calcium, and it is also a non-metal. .2. Metals are elements found on the left and on the bottom dividing the line on the periodic table, and most of these solids at room temperature. Properties of metals. They're shiny, they're malleable, they're ductile, so they can be thrown into windows or something. And malleable means they can be shaped or bent without breaking, if you heat them up, of course. Most metals are solids at room temperature except for mercury, which is a liquid. They are good conductors of heat and electricity, and metals have high boiling and melting points. Examples of metals are sodium, iron, gold, and silver and mercury. Francium, or Fr, is the metal, is the element, and it's extremely rare and is the rarest element that appears on the periodic table. There is a maximum of 30 grams of francium in Earth's crust at any given time, and it is also very radioactive. Another radioactive element is uranium. Okay, that's it. I will look at this because this is marked wrong, as you can see. So rather work with this example than look at this. This is not right. This is all metals still. So look at the periodic table that I gave you. It only goes up to here. This is extended version, and please do not use this as a good example. So rather use this one. Okay, thank you.